Hey, can I ask you something? Have you ever felt like you're still young at heart? Like you've still got that energy you had back in your 20s or 30s? Maybe you're still staying up late, gaming till midnight, scrolling through social media non-stop, and thinking, my body can handle it. I've met so many people who feel that way, especially those who are approaching 50 or already there. And they've shared stories with me that honestly gave me chills. Stories about habits they thought were harmless when they were younger, that ended up quietly damaging their health later on. That's why I want to sit down with you today, just the two of us, and talk about 9 common health habits that so many Americans, especially those of us who are no longer in our 30s, really need to rethink. Because it's not just about living longer, it's about living well, living strong, and living with meaning. Absolutely. Here's your script translated into conversational spoken English, perfect for a heartfelt YouTube video targeting older American viewers. Habit number 1, staying up late gaming or endlessly scrolling. Are you trading away your most precious sleep at 50? Hey, can I ask you something? Do you ever feel like you're still young, like you can handle anything? That staying up late watching shows, scrolling through your phone, or gaming until 2 a.m. isn't really a big deal? I used to feel the same way. Back in my younger years, staying up all night just made me a little tired the next day. I'd grab a coffee and boom, back to normal. But after turning 50, it's a whole different story. I want you to imagine this. Sleep isn't just downtime. It's prime time for your brain and body to clean house, repair itself, and recharge for the next day. Getting enough sleep is one of the most powerful health habits we can build if we want to stay sharp, strong, and resilient. But here's the thing. A lot of people in their 50s are still holding on to those night owl habits. They think as long as they're getting stuff done or having fun, it's all good. But the truth is, it's not. Consistently staying up late throws off your body's natural rhythms. It messes with melatonin, the hormone that helps you fall asleep and stay asleep. Without deep sleep, your brain doesn't fully recover. Over time, this increases the risk of memory problems, lack of focus, and even chronic issues like heart disease and type 2 diabetes. Did you know Harvard researchers found that adults who regularly sleep too little are over 50% more likely to develop chronic illnesses compared to those who get good sleep? Not to mention, the rates of anxiety and depression skyrocket when you're constantly sleep-deprived. Let me tell you about Mike, one of my patients in his mid-50s. Mike loved his late-night gaming sessions. He told me it helped him escape the stress of work and family life. But gradually, he started forgetting small things, appointments, names, even family birthdays. His mood dipped, his blood pressure spiked, and he couldn't get a solid night's sleep no matter how hard he tried. So we worked together to build a better sleep routine. He cut down screen time before bed, stopped gaming after 9 p.m., and started winding down with music and quiet time. A few months in, his memory came back, he felt more alert, and his blood pressure finally started to stabilize. So now I want to ask you, have you ever felt wide awake at night, only to wake up the next morning feeling groggy and mentally foggy? That's a red flag. That's your body telling you your sleep isn't doing its job. And trust me, no amount of caffeine is going to fix that. At 50 and beyond, our bodies need quality rest more than ever. I'm not saying you need a perfect 8 hours every night, like some rigid schedule, but your body deserves the chance to rest, reset, and recover. That's what real self-care looks like. So maybe, instead of gaming till midnight or falling down a TikTok rabbit hole, you give something gentler a try. A book, some soft music, meditation, or just turning off your screens an hour before bed. You'll be surprised how quickly your mood, energy, and brain function bounce back. Remember, sleep isn't the enemy of productivity or fun. It's your best friend, especially now. And it's never too late to start taking care of it. Take back your nights, and you just might take back your mornings too. Habit number 2, skipping breakfast or loading up on sugary foods. Do you really understand the value of breakfast once you hit 50? Hey, I want to have an honest talk with you for a moment. About breakfast. Yeah, that one meal that so many of us underestimate or completely skip, especially once we hit our 50s. Have you ever told yourself, breakfast isn't that important, or just grabbed a quick coffee and rushed out the door? If you have, you're definitely not alone. Skipping breakfast or only eating sugary stuff in the morning is one of the most common habits I see in folks over 50, especially among Americans. And here's the thing, even if you feel fine now, that habit may slowly be harming your brain, your heart, and your overall health. Let me share a real story. There's a woman named Linda, one of my patients. She's 55. Always busy, always on the go. Her morning routine? A strong black coffee, and that's it. She told me, I skip breakfast so I don't gain weight. It sounded logical to her. But after a few years, she started noticing memory issues, constant fatigue, rising blood pressure. And eventually, her doctor warned her about her risk for diabetes. And trust me, Linda's story isn't rare. Studies show that skipping breakfast or starting your day with sugar-packed pastries or sweet cereals significantly increases your risk for chronic conditions like type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and even cognitive decline. See, when you reach your 50s, your body doesn't bounce back the way it did in your 20s. Your metabolism slows down. Your sleep isn't as deep. So that first meal of the day, it matters a lot. Have you ever woken up after a full night's sleep but still felt tired or unfocused? A big reason might be that your brain hasn't received the right fuel. Your brain uses about 20% of your body's energy daily, and it doesn't run well on sugar highs and processed carbs. Stuff like donuts, white bread, or sugary cereal just gives you a quick spike and a crash. What your brain really wants is steady, nourishing energy. Breakfast isn't just about filling your stomach. It's about setting the tone for your entire day. When you choose foods with high-quality protein, fiber, and vitamins, you're not just boosting your energy. You're supporting your heart, your focus, and even your emotional well-being. I remember John. He's 58. His go-to breakfast was coffee and a donut. He admitted, I know it's not great, but I've always done it. Over time, though, he felt tired, drained, and his memory started to slip. Once we switched up his breakfast, added in some eggs, fresh fruit, whole grains, and encouraged more water in the morning, he felt a major difference. He told me, I didn't know I could feel this good just by changing breakfast. Have you ever felt that sluggishness in the morning even when you thought you'd rested well? If so, maybe it's time to take a closer look at what you're putting in your body, or what you're skipping. And get this, research actually shows that people who skip breakfast are more likely to gain weight and develop heart problems, even though many folks skip it thinking they'll lose weight. The reason? Skipping breakfast often leads to stronger hunger later in the day, and we're more likely to reach for high-calorie, low-nutrition foods to compensate. Think of your body like a car. If you put in the wrong fuel or wait too long to fill up, the engine struggles. Same goes for your body, especially after 50. You need quality fuel, early in the day, to keep things running smoothly. Now, I'm not saying you need a gourmet breakfast. You just need something real. Try a hard-boiled egg, some plain oatmeal, a few slices of fruit, or a slice of whole grain toast with peanut butter. The goal is to give your body protein, fiber, and minimize refined sugars. Oh, and don't forget water. A glass of warm water first thing in the morning helps rehydrate your system and kickstarts your metabolism. I know, changing habits isn't easy. But think about your long-term health. Every small decision you make in the morning builds toward your future. These little changes now will determine how sharp and strong you stay in the years to come. So, let me ask you, are you ready to rethink your breakfast routine? Have you already made changes and noticed a difference? If so, I'd love to hear your story. Sometimes your experience might be the push someone else needs to finally make a change. Bottom line, don't underestimate your breakfast. Especially now. If you're in your 50s, this is the time to double down on taking care of yourself. And breakfast? It's one of the most powerful places to start. Your body, your brain, your future self, they'll all thank you for it. Habit number 3. Sitting too much and barely moving. What young people thought was harmless now comes with a heavy price in older age. Hey, can I ask you something honest? Do you ever think back to your younger days? Those long stretches of time when you barely moved, sitting for hours in front of a screen, skipping workouts and telling yourself, "I'll be fine, I'm young." Well, now imagine how all those habits quietly built up in your body over the years, and by the time you hit 50, the cost isn't just a sore back or a little knee pain, it's a full-blown health battle. Chronic illnesses, fatigue, loss of mobility, things we never thought we'd deal with this early. Let me tell you about Mary. She's 62 now. She used to be super active when she was younger, but work happened. Sitting at a desk all day, staring at a screen, and slowly, physical activity slipped out of her routine. When she came to see me, she told me she was always tired. Her joints ached, and worse, her blood pressure and blood sugar were out of control. The habit of not moving much, it had become her daily nightmare. She looked at me and said, "I used to think I was young, working full-time, I didn't need to exercise. But now, I regret it every single day." Unfortunately, Mary's story isn't rare. In the US, a lot of adults over 50 fall into this exact same pattern, especially those who were already inactive in their younger years. Sitting for long periods doesn't just slow down your metabolism, it weakens circulation, reduces calorie burn, and increases your risk for obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and even memory loss. Did you know that, according to the CDC, more than 25% of adults over 50 don't get any physical activity outside of their daily tasks? And the result? The rates of heart disease, stroke, and dementia are climbing fast. Ever wonder why some older adults seem to age so differently? Like one friend still out gardening or biking while another can barely walk down the driveway without feeling winded. The difference often isn't genetics or luck. It's movement. It's how much they kept their bodies in motion over the years. Let me paint you a picture. Your body is like a machine. If you leave it idle too long, the parts start to rust. The gears stiffen. Things break down. That's what happens when we sit for hours and don't move. Blood doesn't flow well. Muscles weaken. Even our nervous system slows down. And once you're over 50, when the body is already naturally aging, it only speeds up the decline. I remember Mary saying to me once, "I can't even remember the last time I walked more than 10 minutes without needing a break." That hit me hard. Something as basic as walking became a challenge, not because she was old, but because her body had been ignored for too long. Can you see a little bit of yourself in that story? Have there been days where just the idea of getting up to move felt exhausting? That's not laziness. That's your body begging for help. And now, at 50 or beyond, is the perfect time to listen. Now look, when I say exercise, I don't mean you need to hit the gym 7 days a week or run marathons. Moving your body can be gentle and still powerful. A walk around the block, stretching in the morning, joining a low-impact yoga or swim class. The key is to stay active in a way that keeps your joints flexible, your blood flowing, and your muscles engaged. In fact, a study from the National Institute on Aging showed that just 30 minutes of light movement a day can lower your risk of heart disease by up to 40%. It also improves your brain function and cuts down your risk of dementia. That's massive. I've helped Mary, and a lot of people just like her, build a simple, consistent movement routine. Starting small, maybe just 5 minutes a day, and you know what? A few months in, things changed. Her energy came back. Her blood pressure dropped. Her mood improved. Most importantly, she said, "I feel like I got my life back." So maybe you're wondering, isn't it too late for me? No, it's never too late, not even close. Your body is still capable. It's still listening. It just needs you to show up for it. Ask yourself this: am I giving my body enough chances to move today? Or have I let it fall asleep on me? Because your health, your freedom, depends on it. Moving daily isn't just about fitness. It's about staying independent. It's about staying sharp. It's about feeling alive. Before I wrap this up, I just want to leave you with this. Make movement a daily habit, no matter how small. Even 5 minutes today is better than none. You're not just adding years to your life, you're adding quality to those years. Got a story about how movement changed your life? Or maybe you're just getting started and need a little push. Share it with me. You never know. Your story might inspire someone else to take that first step. And if today's message resonated with you, Don't forget to subscribe and share this video. Let's keep moving, together. Habit number 4, skipping meals or mindless snacking. The silent enemy when you hit 50. Let me ask you something. Have you ever found yourself just skipping breakfast like it's no big deal? Or maybe you snack all day long. Chips, cookies, fried foods, whatever's around. These might seem like small, harmless habits, especially when we're younger, but they quietly take a toll on your health once you hit 50. I remember a patient of mine, Linda. She's 55. She told me she usually skips breakfast because she's always in a rush, and if she did eat, it'd be a couple crackers and some coffee. Lunch? Whatever she could grab at the office. Dinner? Usually fast food, something fried and a few cans of soda. At first, she didn't feel anything unusual, maybe just a bit tired, a little forgetful. But after a checkup, the truth came out. Early signs of type 2 diabetes, high cholesterol, and rising blood pressure. Skipping meals and eating random junk throughout the day is incredibly common, especially in the US, and especially among folks who were used to doing this when they were younger. Busy lives, tight schedules, stress, it all adds up. But the thing is, once you're older, your body simply can't bounce back the way it used to. According to the CDC, skipping meals and overeating snacks is strongly linked to obesity, diabetes, high blood pressure, and heart disease, all of which dramatically increase your risk for stroke. When you skip a meal, especially breakfast, your body misses out on the fuel it needs to stay energized and focused. And what happens next? You get overly hungry later in the day, overeat, and usually grab foods that aren't doing you any favors. It becomes a vicious cycle, gaining weight, throwing off your metabolism, and creating stress for your entire system. And let's talk about the snacks. When we reach for sugary treats, salty chips, or processed junk, our blood sugar shoots up and crashes just as fast. That messes with your brain, leading to memory problems, poor focus, and over time it can increase your risk for neurodegenerative diseases like Alzheimer's. Yeah, it's that serious. I want you to imagine your body like an old car. If you don't take care of it, if you fill it with the wrong fuel, ignore routine maintenance, it starts to break down. And the damage? It doesn't show up overnight. But when it hits hard. Another patient of mine, James, he's 62, once told me, "I never thought eating habits mattered that much." He skipped breakfast, snacked on chips and candy, and drank soda more often than water. It wasn't until he was diagnosed with heart disease that he realized he'd ignored his health for way too long. Have you ever felt that way? Like work or life is so overwhelming that you don't even have time to eat properly? Or that food has become more of a way to cope with stress than something that actually fuels you? If you have, you're not alone. Here's the reality. At 50, your body starts to shift. Your metabolism slows down, your organs don't work as efficiently, and the wear and tear starts to show. Unhealthy eating habits that seemed fine in your 30s become a much bigger deal now. Skipping meals, eating out of boredom or stress, grazing on sugar and fat, all of it puts extra strain on your heart, liver, kidneys, and especially your brain. So how do we turn this around? I'm not here to tell you to go on a strict diet or change everything overnight. That's not realistic. What is doable is starting small. Try making breakfast a priority. Choose a few balanced foods that give you protein, fiber, and some healthy carbs. Think eggs, whole grains, or some fruit and yogurt. And don't let yourself get too hungry between meals. That's when bad decisions happen. Replace mindless snacks with healthier ones. Fresh fruit, a handful of nuts, or some low-sugar yogurt. The idea is to feed your body, not your emotions. One thing that helps a lot? Actually sitting down to eat. Don't eat in front of a computer or while driving. Take a few minutes to be present, chew slowly, and really enjoy your food. When you do that, your brain picks up on fullness cues better, and you're less likely to overeat. Ever wondered how your life might change if you just made one or two of these adjustments? Imagine having more energy, clearer memory, better moods, and fewer visits to the doctor. That's what smart eating can do for you, especially after 50. Here's the takeaway. Health isn't about perfection, it's about progress. You don't need to flip your entire routine. You just need to care and take one step at a time. So, let me say this from the heart. Don't let bad eating habits hang around just because you think you're too busy or still young at heart. Once you cross into your 50s, your body deserves better. You deserve better. If today's message hit home, I hope you'll share it with someone you care about. Let's help each other build habits that keep us strong, sharp, and full of life. And hey, if you're not subscribed yet, go ahead and hit that button. I'd love to keep supporting you on this journey toward better health, one habit at a time. Habit number 5, using your phone or computer right before bed, sleep's enemy, and the brain's foe at 50 plus. Hey, can I be real with you? Do you find yourself falling asleep with your phone in hand? Scrolling through Facebook, TikTok, emails, or even gaming till the last minute before lights out? If you're nodding, you're definitely not alone. This habit is common not just among younger folks, but also so many Americans in their 50s who don't realize just how much it messes with their health. Let me paint a picture. That blue light from your phone, computer, or TV screen may look harmless, but it's a powerful signal tricking your brain into thinking it's still daytime. That stops your melatonin from being released properly. Melatonin's the hormone that tells your body, hey, it's time to sleep. As we get older, especially after 50, our brain and body get way more sensitive to these environmental cues. Our natural melatonin levels are already declining, and if we're staring at screens late at night, sleep becomes harder to fall into, stay in, or even feel deep. The result? A vicious cycle of poor sleep, tiredness, stress, foggy memory, even stronger risks for heart disease and stroke. I remember a patient, Linda, now 62. She told me she only uses her phone a little before bed. But a little turned into every night. She was sleep-deprived for years. Mornings felt like her head was spinning. She couldn't focus, and memory was shaky. When I asked about her bedtime habits, that late-night screen time was the culprit. So she made a shift, moved her phone across the room, replaced screen time with reading a paper book, and wound down with soft music and simple meditation. In just a few weeks, her sleep improved tremendously. She was sharper in the morning, more energetic, and simply felt happier. She isn't alone. This is what I see time and time again in my patients over 50. Quality sleep really is gold at this stage of life. Have you ever woken up feeling groggy or foggy, not knowing why? Chances are it's the late-night electronic use. That habit you may not even think is harmful. And it goes deeper. Over time, screen time before bed can also ramp up anxiety, stress, and even early signs of depression. All things none of us want as we age. A restless brain at night doesn't just affect memory, it weakens your immunity, making illness more likely. Imagine turning off your phone before bed like an act of self-care. I know it's not easy. Phones are practically part of us these days. But try this. 30 minutes before sleep, switch off screens, dim the lights, and give yourself time to decompress. Read, meditate, or enjoy calming tunes. Your brain and body will thank you. Science backs this up. Quality sleep aids brain recovery, emotional balance, better memory, and lowers your risk for chronic diseases like hypertension, diabetes, and stroke. All real threats after 50. Picture starting your morning feeling refreshed and clear-headed, all because you gave yourself the silence and rest you needed last night. This isn't just habit change, it's preserving your brain, heart, and life. Not sure where to begin? Try tonight. Put your phone away at least 30 minutes before bed. Turn off unnecessary devices. Set up a relax zone, whatever helps you unwind. You might be surprised at how much better your sleep and your outlook becomes. Remember, 50 isn't the end of vitality. It's a milestone where small changes can mean a more vibrant next chapter. If this resonates, share this video with someone you care about. It could help them start sleeping better and protecting their brain. And don't forget to subscribe for more health insights made especially for those of us in our 50s and beyond. Habit number 6. Ignoring your mental health, the silent burden on your soul. Hey, can I share something real with you? When we're younger, we tend to focus on our physical health, eating right, working out, staying active. But there's one huge piece we often overlook: taking care of our mental and emotional health. When you're in your 20s or 30s, the stress, the pressure, the late-night worries, they all seem manageable, even harmless. But the truth is, those little stressors quietly pile up over the years. And by the time we hit our 50s, those hidden emotional weights can come crashing down in the form of depression, chronic fatigue, anxiety, insomnia, and even nervous system issues. Let me paint a picture. Every day we deal with stress from work, finances, family dynamics, even the quiet loneliness that can come when kids move out or when friends drift away. And when those feelings aren't acknowledged or processed, it's like adding invisible stones to a backpack you wear every single day. Sooner or later, that weight becomes exhausting, mentally and physically. One of my patients, a 62-year-old woman, once told me, "I wake up feeling hopeless. I don't even want to get out of bed. I'm just tired. Tired in my body, but more so in my mind." When we dug a little deeper, we realized she'd been living with mild depression for years. It wasn't until she hit her 50s that it finally surfaced in ways she couldn't ignore. All that unprocessed stress had taken its toll. Here's the thing: mental and physical health are completely intertwined. When your mind is suffering, your immune system gets weaker. Chronic conditions like heart disease and diabetes tend to worsen. And on the flip side, if you're living with chronic physical pain or illness, your mental health can take a major hit too. It's a two-way street. At 50 and beyond, your brain starts to go through natural changes. Hormone levels shift, and cognitive function can decline if we don't take care of ourselves. If you let stress and anxiety go unchecked, your risk for neurological conditions like Alzheimer's and dementia rises significantly. Have you ever felt like no one really understands you anymore? Or spent long nights lying awake, worrying about things you can't even name? That's not just life stuff. Those are signs your mental health needs attention. I always tell my patients, your mental health deserves the same care and priority as your physical health. So what can you do? Start small. Talk to someone, a friend, a family member, a therapist. Don't bottle it all up. Sharing is the first step toward healing. Try meditating for just 5 minutes a day. Go for a short walk in nature. Join a community group. Write your thoughts in a journal. These may seem simple, but they're powerful tools to help you reconnect with yourself. And please remember, you don't have to go through this alone. Reaching out for support is not a sign of weakness. It's actually one of the strongest things you can do for yourself. Because only when your mind is at peace can your body truly heal and your spirit stay sharp. Don't let unspoken stress quietly chip away at your health and happiness. Mental wellness is physical wellness, especially after 50. If this message speaks to you, pass it along to someone you care about. You never know who might need to hear it. And if you haven't already, subscribe to this channel so we can keep bringing you meaningful health tips to help you live well every single day. Habit number 7. Smoking and substance use, the lingering weight on your lungs and heart. Let's be real for a second. Think back to when you were younger. Maybe you told yourself, "Yeah, smoking's bad, but I'm young. I'm strong. It won't affect me." I've heard that line more times than I can count. And honestly, back then, you probably didn't feel any immediate consequences. But here's the hard truth. Smoking is like taking out a loan against your future health. And by the time you hit 50, the bill comes due. Your lungs aren't what they used to be. Your blood vessels start to stiffen and thicken. Your heart has to work overtime just to keep the blood flowing. And the damage caused by smoking, it's not something you can fully undo. That's why smoking is one of the leading contributors to heart disease, stroke, and lung cancer. I remember one of my patients, a 55-year-old man who'd been smoking for over 30 years. He told me, "I never felt sick when I was younger. I thought I was fine." But by the time he came in, He was already dealing with hardened arteries, high blood pressure, and a serious decline in lung function. He looked me in the eye and said, "I had no idea those little cigarettes were quietly destroying my body for decades." Have you ever asked yourself, if I could go back, would I quit sooner? Or maybe you've seen someone you love suffer through the long-term effects of smoking. Science is crystal clear on this. Smokers are twice as likely to have a stroke compared to non-smokers. Cigarettes narrow your blood vessels, reduce oxygen to your brain, raise blood pressure, and throw your heart rhythm off. All the ingredients for a ticking time bomb. And it's not just tobacco. Excessive alcohol, recreational drugs, even long-term stimulant use, they all take a toll on your heart and brain. When we're young, our bodies bounce back. But after 50, the bounce fades. What used to be a weekend habit can turn into a full-blown health crisis. But here's the good news. It's never too late to quit. Even at 50 and beyond, your body has an amazing ability to heal, if you give it the chance. I always tell my patients, if you're still smoking, today is the day to stop. Get support. Talk to your doctor. Find a support group. Lean on your loved ones. Every single smoke-free day is one more day you're protecting your lungs, your heart, and your brain. You deserve to live a life that's healthy, strong, and free from the chains of old habits. So if you've been waiting for a sign, this is it. Now's the time. And if this message hit home for you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it. You never know whose life you might change. And don't forget to hit subscribe for more practical, heartfelt health tips designed especially for life after 50. Because you're not done yet. In fact, your best years might still be ahead. Habit number 8, drinking too much alcohol. When a short-lived buzz turns into long-term damage to your liver, heart, and brain. Let me take you back for a second. Maybe it was a birthday party, a holiday, or just a Friday night after work. You raised a glass with friends. Just a little, someone said. One drink led to another, and then maybe a few more. Back then, you felt fine. Clear-headed, energetic. No signs that anything was wrong. But that's the danger with alcohol. It doesn't always give you immediate warnings. It's slow, it's sneaky, like tiny cracks in a wall that go unnoticed, until one day, the whole thing collapses with the slightest breeze. After 50, it's no longer just a few drinks. When you're young, your body can handle more, or at least it seems like it can. But once you hit middle age, everything inside you starts to change. Your liver, the organ responsible for processing alcohol, begins to slow down. Every drink becomes harder to process. And if those drinks come too often, too much, it's only a matter of time before your liver raises a red flag. One of my patients, a 52-year-old former banker, came to me after years of having just a few drinks every night. He said it helped him relax. But then, one day, he showed up with a swollen belly, yellowing skin, and constant fatigue. Blood tests and imaging revealed advanced liver damage, a step away from full-blown cirrhosis. He was shocked. "I never even got drunk," he told me. "I just had a few drinks each night. How did it come to this?" And here's the heartbreaking truth. Alcohol doesn't need to make you drunk to do serious damage. It's not just your liver. Your heart and brain are taking hits too. We often hear about liver problems, but people forget that alcohol is also a major threat to your heart and your brain. It raises blood pressure, it can cause arrhythmia, weaken your heart muscle, and lead to heart failure over time. And your brain? Alcohol actually shrinks the hippocampus, the part responsible for memory. That's why heavy drinkers often start forgetting things earlier in life. And the biggest risk? Stroke. A study published in Stroke Journal showed that people who drink excessively have a 2 to 3 times higher risk of stroke, especially when they also have high blood pressure, diabetes, or high cholesterol. Sound familiar? These conditions are incredibly common in Americans over 50. I only drink on special occasions. Sound familiar? Here's the thing. In the US, alcohol is woven into our culture. Celebrations, social gatherings, even just to wind down. So when someone says, "only on the weekends," or "just a glass with friends," it doesn't sound like much. But week after week, year after year, the pattern builds. And one day, your body doesn't see it as just a little anymore. It starts pushing back. Ever woken up after a night out feeling exhausted, foggy, or short of breath? Well, ever noticed your memory slipping, your sleep getting worse, or your heart skipping a beat after drinking? These are early warning signs. Ignore them, and they can turn into something far more serious. The answer isn't total abstinence, it's learning control. I'm not here to tell you to become a monk and swear off alcohol forever. What I am here to say is, if you're in your 50s, or even approaching them, it's time to reevaluate your relationship with alcohol. If you need a drink to fall asleep every night, that's a sign you're leaning on alcohol like a crutch. If you find it hard to say no to weekend beers with friends, ask yourself, who's really in charge? You or the habit? Start small, start smart. Limit yourself to 1 drink per sitting, and no more than 3 times a week. Drink with food and water to ease the impact on your liver and heart. Pay attention to how your body feels after drinking. Are you sleeping well? Do you feel drained, anxious? And if you have a history of heart disease, liver problems, or high blood pressure, talk to your doctor before your next glass. You don't need to quit drinking to live well, but you do need to drink wisely. Health after 50 doesn't come from luck. It comes from conscious choices every single day. And choosing to cut back on alcohol might just be one of the most powerful gifts you can give yourself and the people who love you. If you see yourself or someone you care about in this story, share this video. Tag them. One small action today could change a life tomorrow. And don't forget to hit that subscribe button so we can keep sharing real practical tips to help you stay sharp, strong, and healthy through every chapter of life. You've still got so much ahead. Let's make sure you're around to enjoy it. Habit number 9, not taking time to rest, chronic stress. Have you ever wondered why, after hitting 50, some mornings you wake up feeling zero motivation? Even when you've slept enough and didn't push yourself too hard the day before, there's this low-key, nagging tiredness inside. Like everything's slowly dragging you down, not in a dramatic way, but just enough to leave you feeling lost. I've met a lot of patients feeling exactly like this. They don't come in with a clear pain or injury, but with this quiet exhaustion eating away at both their mind and body. After chatting with them, I noticed a common thread. They've gone for years without giving themselves any real breaks. All the worries, pressures, responsibilities, swallowed whole, never released. Stress, invisible but deadly, silently stealing their health bit by bit. When you're 20, you can pull all-nighters for days, work 10 hours straight, then party on the weekend with 0 signs of fatigue. But after 50, your body just can't handle that load anymore. Your nervous system gets more sensitive. Your heart and blood pressure start acting up. Your liver, kidneys, immune system, everything slows down. And if you keep refusing yourself rest at this point, the consequences might become irreversible. I remember a guy named Richard, 58, a CFO at a big company in Chicago. He worked hard all his life, put his kids through college, built a home, living the American dream. But when he retired, he suddenly felt empty. Sleepless nights, irritability, no excitement for anything. At first, he thought it was just adjustment. But months went by, no improvement. When he came to see me, he had high blood pressure, irregular heartbeat, and his cortisol, the stress hormone, was through the roof. Diagnosis? Mild nervous exhaustion with risks of depression and arrhythmia from chronic stress. What stuck with me was what he said, "I worked my whole life, but I think I forgot how to live." See, at 50, health isn't just physical. It's the total package of body, emotions, and mind. And rest isn't just lying around doing nothing. Rest at this age means giving yourself permission to let go. No checking emails, no carrying others' burdens, no holding on to toxic feelings. It means learning to say no when you need to and making space for things that bring you peace. Studies show chronic stress raises the risk of heart disease, diabetes, memory loss, even cancer. When your nervous system's stuck in fight or flight mode, what stress triggers, Your whole body goes into chronic inflammation, speeding up aging. So rest isn't a luxury anymore, it's a must. Like filling gas in a car, you need to fuel your mind. And no, rest isn't laziness. It's a key part of thriving after 50. How to rest right. You don't need fancy vacations or expensive spas. Sometimes 15 minutes walking in gentle morning sun, a few deep breaths by a window, or an evening with no screens, no news, just you and a good book. That's enough. Every day, just a little pause to refresh your mind and heal your body. I always tell my patients, you don't need to slow down to keep up with others. You need to slow down to keep up with yourself. Because after 50, you're not racing to be faster or better than anyone else. You're on a journey to live deeper, understand yourself more, and love yourself better. So if you're living each day feeling like you're barely holding on, please take a moment. Not to run away, but to come back home to yourself. Your body, your mind, they deserve rest, care, and healing. You know, when we're young, our bodies can take a lot. Lack of sleep, irregular eating, constant stress, abusing alcohol and cigarettes, even those all-nighters, scrolling on our phones. But all those habits, even if they don't leave obvious marks at the time, quietly build up day by day, like tiny scratches that don't bleed but are deep enough to cause big cracks once we hit our 50s. Then one morning you realize you're not as sharp or agile as before. Things you used to handle have become heavy burdens. Your mind isn't clear, your sleep isn't restful, your health is slipping away, and you don't even know when it started. But here's the amazing part. You still have a choice. Breaking a bad habit isn't easy, especially when it's been tied to your lifestyle for years. But you can start with a small change, and those small changes, repeated with patience, become a big turning point. That's how we rewrite our health future, not by magic, but by conscious effort. I want you to remember this. Turning 50 isn't the end of your vitality, it's the beginning of awakening. It's the moment when you stop living because you have to and start living to truly understand yourself. And in that understanding, the first thing you need to do is let go of the habits that are quietly draining your health and clarity every day. And if you're already in your 60s, 70s, or even 80s, so what? It's never too late. Science shows that even starting new habits in old age, your body can recover. Cells regenerate, the brain can still learn, the heart can still heal, as long as you decide to begin. If you watch this video today and realize there's a habit you need to change, do it for yourself. And if you feel this message might touch someone you love, please share this video with them. Just one click could give someone else a chance to live healthier, longer, and fuller. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel so we can continue this journey together, sharing simple, relatable, and practical tips for middle-aged and older adults, not just to live longer, but to live better and with purpose. After 50 is the time to slow down but go deeper. You don't have to be perfect, just be awake. And I believe you're brave enough to start today. See you in the next videos.